is World News Tonight.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday. I'm Rachel Scott, in for Lindsay Davis. We begin tonight with the investigation into that massive power outage in San Francisco during the busy holiday travel rush. The city put on pause with more than 130,000 homes and businesses going without power. Tonight, thousands are still in the dark. Self-driving cars stopping in the middle of traffic, movie theaters suddenly going dark. The disruptions could not come at a worse time. The West already bracing for rain and snow, and scenes like this one in Utah. Across the country, millions of Americans are taking to the roads and skies in what's expected to be record numbers. Our weather team is standing by with the forecast. But first, we do begin with ABC's Melissa Dawn, leading us off from LAX.
Tonight, on the first official day of winter, as the West Coast prepares for major storms across the region, travelers from across the country gear up for a record-breaking week of holiday travel, as AAA is projecting more than 122 million travelers for Christmas through New Year's. Weather alerts and power outages adding to the travel rush. In San Francisco, crews working to restore power following a citywide outage on Saturday, impacting more than 130,000 homes and businesses, leading to street closures, public transportation disruptions, and business closures during the busy holiday shopping season. Authorities are still investigating the cause of the outage. The TSA anticipates screening more than 43 million passengers between December 19th and January 4th. It's so busy, the FAA planning on using limited military airspace if needed. Here in Southern California, the holiday travel crush causing major delays on the freeways, families facing a long day of travel. Out on the roads, AAA says nearly 110 million people will travel by car. That's up 2% from last year. And drivers are expected to find cheaper gas prices compared to this time last year.
Rachel, airline leaders are expecting a busy period with more than 2.9 million passengers expected to travel each day during this holiday period. So that's why travel experts stress to arrive here early. Rachel?
Melissa, thank you. And then there's the question of how much the weather will impact the holiday travel. So let's get right to meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station, WABC. Hey, Danny, time's been out for us.
Rachel, shaping up to be a rough week ahead in parts of the West. Rounds of heavy rain and mountain snow. California in the crosshairs this time with flood watches posted up and down the state. That heavy rain prompting the threat for flash flooding. So let's time it out. It's Northern California into parts of the Pacific Northwest tonight into tomorrow with that heavy rain, while the rest of the country is relatively quiet for holiday travel. On Tuesday, we're looking at a quick burst of rain and snow, creating slick conditions for the Northeast, while on the other side of the country, a more potent storm system brings another round of heavy rain and mountain snow, this time to Central and Southern California. For Christmas Eve, we're still looking at the wet weather for the West Coast. The rest of the country is quiet. And the other big weather headline, the warmth. We're talking highs in the 60s and 70s for the center of the country, and that holds into Christmas Day.
All right, some good news heading into Christmas. Right, Danny, thank you. Now to the showdown in the Caribbean Sea. The U.S. Coast Guard is pursuing a third tanker off the Venezuelan coast. It's the third in the last 10 days. Tonight, Venezuela is pushing back, calling the seizures, quote, theft and hijacking. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, rising tensions with Venezuela as the U.S. is in active pursuit of a sanctioned dark fleet vessel fleeing the Caribbean. A U.S. official tells ABC News the Coast Guard is attempting to intercept a vessel that's part of Venezuela's, quote, illegal sanctions evasion. The official says the ship is, quote, flying a false flag and under a judicial seizure order. This comes after Saturday's seizure of an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, carried out by an elite Coast Guard tactical team. The same type of unit used just 10 days earlier when American forces rappelled from helicopters onto another oil tanker's deck to take control of the ship. Tonight, Venezuela firing back, calling the seizures theft and hijacking.
I consider it a provocation and a prelude to war, and I hope we don't go to war with Venezuela.
Last week, President Trump threatened to impose what he called a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers traveling to and from Venezuela, a move that could devastate the Venezuelan economy. Oil exports, the lifeblood of President Nicolas Maduro's regime. All of this as the U.S. amasses the largest military presence in the Caribbean in decades. The Pentagon also striking 28 alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific, killing at least 100 people without providing any public evidence or identifying those killed. The administration insisting its pressure campaign is about targeting drug traffickers and sanctioned oil, but some Republicans openly calling for regime change.
I am all in the camp for regime change.
And President Trump has been warning for weeks now that land strikes targeting drug traffickers inside Venezuela could be coming soon, saying this week that he's not ruling out war. So lawmakers are now pressing the administration for clarity, asking what the real end game is here. Is it about oil, drugs, or regime change? Rachel?
Those questions coming from both sides of the aisle. All right, Selena Wang traveling with the president tonight in Florida. Selena, thank you. Next tonight, new questions over the redactions in the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files. Some victims and lawmakers are taking issue with those redactions. And tonight, the Department of Justice is responding. Here's ABC's Olivia Rubin.
Tonight, growing outrage over the Department of Justice's partial release of its files on notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein calls for answers coming from across the aisle.
This initial document release is inadequate. It falls short of what the law requires.
The quickest way, and I think most expeditious way to get justice for these victims is to bring inherent contempt against Pam Bondi.
Congress passing a law last month requiring the Justice Department to release all of its records on Epstein by Friday. Redactions permitted to protect the identity of victims, safeguard ongoing investigations, or shield images of abuse. Trump signing the bill under pressure from within his own party. But sources telling ABC the DOJ released less than half of those records by the deadline, many of them heavily redacted. This image showing the inside of Epstein's home, photos of Donald Trump contained inside an open drawer, initially released, then removed, then reposted. Democrats on Capitol Hill crying foul, asking what else is being covered up. But the Justice Department firing back.
There were a number of photographs that were pulled down after being released on Friday. That's because a judge in New York has ordered us to listen to any victim or victim rights group if they have any concerns about the material that we're putting up. It has nothing to do with President Trump.
Among the newly released documents, a significant revelation. This never-before-seen 1996 FBI complaint, believed to be the first time Epstein was ever reported to federal law enforcement. Epstein accuser Maria Farmer says she filed that complaint 3 decades ago, alerting authorities Epstein, quote, stole photos she had taken of her 12 and 16-year-old sisters, threatening to, quote, burn down her house if she told anyone. But Epstein would not be investigated for another decade. Tonight, Farmer telling ABC she finally feels, quote, redeemed. Years ago, she told us she believed others could have been saved from Epstein's abuses.
If the FBI had listened to me in 1996, there would have been no more victims.
And Rachel, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says the rest of those documents were delayed in part due to that tedious review process, but he says more should be released in the coming weeks. Rachel.
We know you'll be following it, Olivia. Thank you. We turn now to a stunning report from the Wall Street Journal. Debris from a SpaceX explosion endangering 3 planes with hundreds of passengers on board. FAA documents reportedly revealing the explosion posed a greater threat than previously known. Tonight, SpaceX is pushing back. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the story.
It was a SpaceX rocket launch that ended in a fireball. Whoa! And tonight, new FAA documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal reveal the chaotic moments that controllers scrambled to reroute planes amid concerns about potential debris.
I need to keep all the aircraft clear of that area because of the debris.
According to the Wall Street Journal, debris rained over the Caribbean for nearly 50 minutes, causing a JetBlue flight heading to Puerto Rico to enter a holding pattern. 2 other aircraft, a private jet, and an Iberia Airlines plane declaring fuel emergencies and making the call to travel through the temporary no-fly zone. All 3 landing safely with 450 people on board. Iberia Airlines telling the paper its plane flew through the area after all the actual debris had already fallen, and JetBlue saying they're confident its flight safely avoided the debris. The Journal also reporting SpaceX didn't immediately notify the FAA of the explosion through its required hotline. The FAA convening a safety review panel, but paused review in August, saying most recommendations were already being implemented. In a statement to ABC News, the FAA says it keeps everyone informed before, during, and after commercial space launches. Prior to every launch, the FAA provides airspace users debris response area and aircraft hazard area coordinates. The report comes as SpaceX, led by CEO Elon Musk, a key Trump ally, advisor, and donor, pushes for faster launch approval approvals from the FAA. Still, questions tonight about safety.
Rachel, SpaceX responding to the Wall Street Journal's report saying it included incomplete and misleading information, adding no aircraft have been put at risk. Rachel?
Morgan, thank you. Overseas now to an emotional gathering honoring the victims and the survivors of the Bondi Beach terror attack. It comes just 1 week after the gunman, a father and son, allegedly opened fire during a ceremony marking the first day of Hanukkah, killing 15 people and injuring dozens more. So let's bring in ABC's Marcus Moore. And Marcus, this is a community that's still very much on edge tonight.
Absolutely, Rachel, and a highly emotional day at Bondi Beach where thousands gathered to mark this tragedy 1 week since those two gunmen carried out this attack. Today, on the final night of Hanukkah, people sang Oseh Shalom, a prayer for peace, and read the names of each victim. The crowd held a moment of silence at 6:47 to mark the moment those first shots were fired. Police in Sydney say a father and son inspired by ISIS targeted Jewish families at the event to mark the first day of Hanukkah. And a Good Samaritan identified as Ahmed Al-Ahmed was seen on video wrestling a gun from one of the shooters before Ahmed himself was wounded. This incident sparking more calls to address a wave of anti-Semitism across the globe. Rachel.
Marcus, thank you. Back here in the U.S., the chilling images tonight. Body camera video capturing the moments an alleged shoplifter pulled a gun on an officer inside a Walmart in Canton, Ohio. Authorities say the gun did not fire. The suspect now charged with attempted murder. We want to warn you, these images are disturbing. Here's ABC's Raina Roy.
Tonight, dramatic body camera footage showing the moment an alleged shoplifter pulled a gun on an Ohio police officer inside a Canton Walmart outside Cleveland Thursday. Watch as this man being held by security lunges to the right, grabs his gun, and points it at the officer. Police say he pulls the trigger, but the gun fails to fire. A Walmart employee tackling him, trying to grab the weapon.
He then brings the firearm back up and attempts to shoot the officer a second time. The gun does not go off again.
The officer punching the man and wrestling him to the ground. Two Walmart employees helping subdue him before he's handcuffed. The gun, police say, was loaded.
It's harrowing. It's my heart dropped into my stomach.
Authorities identifying the suspect as 21-year-old Shane Newman, who has spent time in prison before on drug charges.
And Rachel, Newman is facing several charges in this incident, including attempted murder. Tonight, Walmart releasing a statement saying the company is proud of that employee for taking action and keeping everyone in that store safe. Rachel?
Those images just really hard to watch. All right, Rena, thank you. We turn now to the countdown to Christmas and the last-minute rush for holiday shoppers flocking to the stores and malls on the hunt for the best deals. Let's bring in ABC's Mola Lengi. And Mola, these last-minute shoppers fueling record spending.
Well, that's right, Rachel. You know, we're less than a week from Christmas. That means the last-minute holiday shopping rush is reaching fever pitch. Millions of Americans are buying those last-minute gifts this weekend. Now, despite some people expressing some anxiety over the state of the economy, total holiday spending is actually expected to eclipse last year's mark. Online consumer spending remains resilient. $187 billion spent so far just this season. Now, big-ticket home good items have really been among the most popular things, like refrigerators, freezers, washers, dryers. Meanwhile, shoppers are leveraging buy now, pay later payment methods to the tune of nearly $14 billion, and that's just for online shopping. Now, while lines in stores were long this weekend, they are expected to peak in stores on the 22nd and 23rd of this week. So we haven't even seen the worst of it in terms of the lines. If you haven't done your holiday shopping yet, don't worry. Discounts are expected to stick around through the month of December, Rachel.
Just a few days to go. All right, Mola, thank you. Next, the jaw-dropping Powerball jackpot. There was no big winner last night, so tomorrow's drawing will be an estimated $1.6 billion. That's the fourth largest in the game's history. The lump sum amount, $753 million. No one has won the big prize since September after a record 45 straight drawings. We wish you all good luck. And still ahead, details on the charges against a South Carolina pastor, what prosecutors say he did to his wife. Also, the college football playoffs, a look at the 8 schools still standing. Back now with the disturbing indictment of a South Carolina pastor. Federal prosecutors say John Paul Miller cyberstalked his wife Micah before she died by suicide last year. The couple was in the middle of a divorce. Neither Miller nor his attorney has commented on these charges. He's due back in court next month. Now to health news and the rising flu cases across the country. The latest CDC numbers show there have been 4.6 million cases so far. 90% are linked to one variant of the virus, which the CDC says is a mismatch with this season's vaccine. Experts still recommend getting a flu shot. When we come back, Prince William recreates a charitable moment from his childhood. Back now with a look ahead in the college football playoffs. Oregon, Mississippi, Alabama, and Miami have all moved on to the Final 8. The Hurricanes visit Ohio State in the first quarterfinal on New Year's Eve. Indiana, Georgia, and Texas Tech host games on New Year's Day. All 4 games will be on ESPN. In the UK, a royal tradition continues. Prince William and his eldest son, Prince George, spent part of their weekend volunteering at a London homeless shelter. The Prince of Wales volunteered at the same charity as a child with his mother, Princess Diana. George signed a visitor's book on the same page his dad used in 1993. When we come back, he's been known as Santa Scott. Now community is giving back to him in his time of need. Finally tonight, Santa's elves come together to bring some holiday help to their own St. Nick.
What do you want for Christmas?
That's Scott Dethorne, better known this time of the year as Santa Scott.
And what do you want, sweetheart?
The beloved Santa has been bringing joy to families at the Fairless Hills Garden Center in Bucks County, Pennsylvania for more than 30 years.
As long as the kids are happy, I'm happy.
When a fire destroyed his home and everything in it nearly 2 months ago, he was determined to get back to work this holiday.
We're getting by. We're actually in a rental house now.
The community immediately swinging into action to help, donating food, clothes, and over $139,000.
I don't think I deserved it all, but, you know, if it wasn't for them guys, I'd be farther in the hole than I am.
And a special donation to help him maintain the tradition, new Santa suits.
A Santa from Texas sent me his old stuff.
I wish you the best with your whole house and everything that's going on. I wish you well, okay?
Thank you.
We've been coming here since we got together and got the dogs. So now we have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-month-old. And we come here every year for Christmas to see Santa Scott.
Santa Scott, still drawing those big crowds every day.
Some days like out the door the whole time, yeah, for like 3 hours.
And a community rallying around their favorite Santa to help keep the Christmas spirit alive.
Keep you going. Seeing a smile on their face is all I care about.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Rachel Scott. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the 3rd year in a row.